I'm originally from Texas. I was born in Mercedes. It's a small community then. It's a big community now. I've lived in Wisconsin now for about 29 years. My family, my dad is originally from Oaxaca, Mexico. He met my mother. My mom is originally from Mercedes, U.S. citizen, and they got married. My mother was a single parent. My dad, unfortunately, he died at age 39. At age 17, I decided to join the military. So I saw the military as one of means. One, I had a passion always to serve our country. And then two, it was a means perhaps in trying to decide in terms of my career pathway. So when I first came to UMOS, and that was in 95, I was intrigued with the services that they were providing services to farm worker families. I was a farm worker child myself, my family, we all used to migrate. So I said, wow, this would be a wonderful opportunity to come back from the other end and be able to work with families and children and create some impact. So I worked for UMOS for about a year and a half or so. Then I got invited to go back to Texas to a sister organization and to do the same services. And then soon after that, I came back in 98, I believe. And so here I am today, 29 years later, right, that I'm still here with UMOS. Having been blessed with the afforded opportunity to work in various projects, learn the program well, because I am a believer that it's not just doing the oversight of a project, but knowing the project well so you can best guide your employees right. When Lupe said, well, I'm thinking of also retiring, that I assumed the interim role as CEO, and then obviously haven't been selected as the new CEO for UMOS back in September of 2024. So certainly it's pivotal for me in my life. Nothing that I said that I want this or I earned this, but more so is doing what we enjoy doing best.
Can you talk about your plans for the future of UMOS?
Well, one of the key elements, I think, being a data-driven program or an agency means that we use our technology, and we use our technology to our best core we can in order for us to make the most formidable decisions to be able to continue more programming. So in the slimmer and trimmer perspective, that means that we have to look at programs or softwares that are out there and perhaps be able to change those softwares so they can give us the best information. So that's one of the elements that we have certainly made some changes. The other one is we also change in creating and developing, if not purchasing, the UKG system, because we wanted a better, robust system that has an onboarded component, also keeps a lot of this information as it relates to employee data, keeps it in file, and keeps it electronically, and we wanted to change from that perspective. The other element that it has those performance components like appraisal systems. It also has professional development built in. In terms of numbers with employees, we're hitting about 956 employees, más o menos, give or take. We are up there with an annual, right now we're hitting about $150 million as a program. I tell you, it's a blessing to be at that level, and it's a blessing to be able to provide services to families and children in multiple states, right?
We also have a new Latino community. This community is changing. How are you going to face this factor?
It's not just serving the farm worker population, but making sure that UMOS is representative of all populations that UMOS serve. So vital and important that whether it be a Republican or Democrat, that they understand that the investment in the services today, whether we do consider them as safety net programs or we consider them something else, is so vital for our families that sometimes they're living in meager wages. Nowadays as well, it is so important to also show impact, because for every dollar that you invest, you want to be absolutely sure that us taxpayers, we're seeing a return in that investment. And so therefore, I believe as a president and CEO of UMOS now, it's important for us to be able to show the impact and the investment. Lupe has been at the helm, was at the helm for 49 years. So we did an event called the Passing of the Torch, meaning that as Lupe is ready to set himself his vision on doing other things for the community, then it's passing the torch to me in terms of being able to continue providing the same quality services and the same impact of services in the communities.
Jose, these are difficult times for Latinos. There is a new administration, a new presidential administration coming. What are your thoughts on that?
We are living in a very different era where most folks says, well, the Trump used to control the House and the Senate then. He's coming in and he is said he's going to do a lot of things, and perhaps maybe it's just a lot of talk. But we just don't know, right? And I tell folks that sometimes when there are some game changers that could have an impact in the lives of families and children, then we can't stay idle. We have to plan for the worst in many instances. We have to prepare. There's a lot of talk in terms of programs that they're looking at cutting, whether it be the LIHEAP programs, whether it be WEAP programs, Head Start programs, SNAP programs, nutritional programs, and the list goes on. So in that aspect, we have to be cognizant in terms of what it is exactly that they're planning, and then how can we best communicate to both sides of the aisle why these programs are necessary and why these programs had created in the past positive impact and how they in the future can create positive impact. I'm a realist as well, and I understand. The federal government, we're sitting right now at $36 trillion. It's a deficit that we're sitting on. Can we continue to spend the way we're spending? No, we can't. We have to understand the fact that sooner or later, if we cannot cover our debt through the collection of taxes, then essentially something's got to give. We have to make some tough decisions. Here in Wisconsin alone, there's the most recent data back in 2022 had roughly about 70,000 undocuments. Whether you say, well, it represents 50% of the agricultural workforce, the dairy workforce, the meatpacking workforce, construction workforce, the hospitality workforce, the restaurant workforce, and the list goes on in terms of industry. Or we can say it roughly represents 20% of that industry. That is still an impact. Can you imagine removing that many from the workforce? What's going to happen to our economy here in the state of Wisconsin? So then are we ready to pay higher prices for food production? Because it has to come somewhere. Right now, we are struggling. When I say we, the nation is struggling for affordable housing. We don't have enough affordable housing for our families, for our children. So does it mean now, does it make sense that we wanting to say, well, folks, removing undocumented makes sense, so therefore, as a result of that, you're going to pay a higher price for homes. Does it really make sense? So it doesn't. So there are other alternatives. And I would like for, on both sides of the aisle, to revisit the Workforce Modernization Act, because that was at least the first attempt that had support and garnered support several years ago to a pathway to citizenship. That's the best thing that we can do for families and children. And it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense when we talk about separating families and children again. We lost 1,500 kids when this happened for mass deportation, and we still haven't been able to find that many children. It's not good for us as a nation. In terms of advocacy, it's going to be an integral approach. It's not only UMOS, but it's a collective approach with all Latino organizations, with all organizations across the aisle, that we have to be advocating for social justice, for what is right. It's going to take a coalition approach. Because again, if we can all come together and have that genuine understanding in terms of what are the real issues, and then what are some probable solutions, and then be able to come to the aisle and present those issues and say, hey, look, this is good for business. Hey, look, this is good for families and children. Look, this is going to help our economy. And if folks begin to maybe dismiss the rhetoric and focus on those aspects, then I think we can get over the hurdle as a nation. And perhaps maybe these can be the first steps at healing our country, right? Because right now we're so decisive, so divided. We are a country of mixed races, but that's what makes us so unique. We are a country of different cultures, and this is why we can celebrate, right, together and collectively. Every day that I wake up, it's a blessing that I have given the fortitude to create some impact. And I know that my role as an administrator, I don't see clients face to face anymore. But then when I do have the opportunity to see them and they say, thank you to UMOS, it has a profound impact on my life, because I know that UMOS is truly creating better futures for our community.